It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, my God.
And now, here he is, Tom Leykis.
What is everybody so upset about? I come to work and I hear everybody all upset. And here's what people are talking about. You know, we've got this stimulus package heading our way, whether we like it or not. Whether you like it or not. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi appeared on This Week with George Stephanopoulos. And she said that birth control funding should be added to the stimulus plan. That unwanted babies, unplanned pregnancies are a big cost to taxpayers. This would be one way to cut back on that. Let's include birth control funding for people who can't afford it. Let's include birth control funding, for God's sake. I say for anybody who makes under $75,000 a year, let's go. Free birth control for everybody. In fact, I would take it a step further. I'm not kidding. You know, I'm not saying this purely for talk show purposes, though I have an idea of what response it will get. Not only free birth control for people who make under $75,000 a year, how about free abortions for people who have been prescribed birth control, who are being treated by a doctor? In other words, people who've gone in, gotten a prescription, and for whatever reason, birth control failed. Up to and including ignorance about how to use birth control, resulting in a pregnancy, an unwanted pregnancy. I do believe that at a time like this, a lower birth rate will help, not hurt, the economy. And, of course, all the born-again Christian groups that have been relatively quiet recently have started wailing again, saying that births are not a cost, they're a blessed event. Well, guess what? These blessed events cost money. And probably at least 10% of the population cannot afford those blessed events. And I'm guessing maybe more. So let's stop the crap. We don't have a born-again Christian in the White House anymore. And as a taxpayer, I would like to see less unwanted pregnancies and less unwanted births. And certainly less, quote-unquote, mistakes. There is no reason not to do this. I do believe birth control being freely available and free abortion being available to those who are under the care of a gynecologist, an OBGYN, Planned Parenthood, or whatever, would save this country billions upon billions of dollars that we are currently wasting right now. Now, I don't know if this would be an economic stimulus, and for me, that's where the controversy comes in. That is where the controversy comes in. Because this is a good idea on its own to provide birth control to people who can't afford it. And honestly, I think we should go way beyond the poverty line. But I must say that the idea of making birth control easier to get, and frankly, abortions easier to get, this is something that should be done sooner and not later. So, you heard what it's all about. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi appeared on ABC yesterday, and she said, as part of the economic stimulus package they're working on getting passed right now, that free birth control or birth control funding be made part of that plan. You got a problem with that?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. The Tom Leykis Show.
Of dollars to expand family planning services. How is that stimulus?
Well, the family planning services reduced cost. It reduced cost. The states are in terrible fiscal budget crisis now, and part of it, what we do for children's health and education, and some of those elements are to help the states meet their financial needs. One of the initiatives you mentioned, the contraception, will reduce cost to the state and to the federal government.
So no apologies for that?
No apologies, no. We have to deal with the consequences of the downturn in our economy.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi being interviewed by George Stephanopoulos on This Week on ABC yesterday. And there she is talking about birth control funding being part of the economic stimulus package. You get a problem with that? 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. I see here Shop Talk. Appears that somebody named Roy Laughlin, stepping down from his position as Senior Vice President and Co-Market Manager for the CBS Los Angeles cluster, effective immediately. Sorry to see that. Okay. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Rebecca on a very happy day around here. Hello.
Just wanted to say that I love your show, and I completely agree with you. I think there's way too many people out there having children that they cannot afford, and it's just costing us, the taxpayers, a lot of money that we don't have, obviously. And that's pretty much it, and I love you, and if you could take me out with a bong hit, I'd love it.
Here you go, Rebecca. One 1-800-5800-TOM, the Tom Leykis Show with Kirk. Hello.
What's up, Tom? How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Kirk.
All right, well, my thoughts on this is I totally agree with what you have to say. A lot of people that don't agree with it, well, they know where they could go because it's a smart move. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the money to support children, and they're having kids, and they go on welfare, and us as people that work, we're the ones that, you know, our taxes go to them, which is not a bad thing. Fine. You know what? But I'm 31 years old. I've had to pay for 2 abortions already. I could have had children if I wanted to, but I was responsible. I said, you know what? I don't have the money right now. What's the next best step? It's a bad word, but you don't kill it. You know what? I can't afford it. I have nephews that are barely 18 years old with 2 kids already, and they don't even have jobs. They haven't graduated from high school or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. And I'm not trying to be a bad guy. I'm not. It's just I'm being realistic. Our economy is really screwed up. Why? We have a lot of kids out there that are bastards nowadays because the father never stuck around. He's either drug dealing or he has a dead-end job. Nobody wants to educate themselves.
Or we don't even know who the father is. He's somebody that mom met in a bar one night when she was having a few shots.
There's no more tradition. There's no more about, like, what do you know about this guy? They're just spreading their legs, having kids. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Sex is great, but you know what? Take responsibility. Either own the child or abort it, one or the other.
So you have no problem with the federal government funding birth control?
I'm actually all for it. Because you know what? There's a lot of naive individuals out there, teenagers, that if they had this birth control, we wouldn't have so many kids out there that are either getting into drugs, becoming gangbangers, tagging up our cities. You know, it's just ridiculous. You know, this goes for all society. I mean, I'm just not from the poor side, but from a rich side, too.
Today's illegitimate children are tomorrow's gangbangers and carjackers.
Not every single one of them, but a big majority of them. Okay.
Well, put it this way. I don't think your carjackers and your gangbangers are coming from nuclear families that are intact. I don't.
I like that.
If dad is home to kick ass, these things don't happen. You know what I'm saying? 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Robert on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Yeah, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I got to disagree with you on this one. I normally, I'm pretty much in your court, but, we already have Planned Parenthood, which already provides free condoms, free, well, not necessarily free birth control, but I believe that's something they also provide.
But it's not free.
Okay. Well, but, you said all along, and this I do agree with you, that a woman, if she wants to get a guy, if she wants to get set up with child support, it doesn't matter unless he's wrapping it. Getting birth control isn't going to help that situation, and I think we all know there's a lot of young teen women that think having a baby is going to solve their problems, that it's the cool thing to do or what have you, and I just don't think throwing a bunch more of our tax dollars at this problem is going to solve it. I mean, how many of your
I'm not saying the problem will never be completely solved, but I think it will allay the problem to a certain extent.
How do you think it will?
Because even I, at my income level, meet women who tell me they're not on the pill because do you know how expensive that is? They'll tell me it's $35, $40 a month.
Wow.
And they will argue, by the way, when I was a teenager, the birth control pill was $10, $12 a month. It's way more expensive than it was when you and I were kids.
Right.
And there are women who don't use it because they can't afford it.
Wow. I just think that the cost, that's like saying you can't afford insurance. You pay a few dollars a month to prevent, a catastrophic thing.
Yeah, but unlike car insurance, where the other insured are paying for the uninsured, when people have babies, every taxpayer, rich and poor, is paying for those babies that are unwanted.
Well, I agree with that. I guess my point is that a lot of those kids may. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure they're all unwanted. I think a lot of these girls have the trick guys into, you've talked about it, poking holes in the condoms and, doing all of this. I think, it's not going to prevent any of that from happening. And I'm not sure what the numbers are of, women that legitimately want to get birth control and can't afford it. Because I think that, the women in that demographic that can't afford $40 a month are the ones that are the biggest problem of wanting to have a kid.
Well, keep in mind
and catch a guy for some child support.
Well, I also heard a story today that young women have been upping their use of birth control during this recession because they're afraid they'll get caught holding the bag if they have a baby.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear there's
But I think we should do everything we can to encourage that and to keep that going.
Do you know what the price tag is on this deal?
I don't know that they have picked. But by the way, I don't know that they have picked it. This is something that Nancy Pelosi said on television.
I heard about it this morning. Yeah.
I'm not sure that there actually is a number.
Okay.
But I certainly think it's something we should consider. And by the way, I'm throwing in, which she did not. Frankly, I think we should make abortions available to people under a certain income level. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Let's go. And I'm not saying 20,000 or 25,000. I'm saying 70,000. There are people right now who can't make their mortgage payments. There are people right now who cannot pay their basic utility bills or buy groceries. The last thing they need is a happy accident living around their house.
I do agree with that. Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
Thank you, Robert, for the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Kelly on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello. Hi.
Good. It's nice to talk to you. I've talked to you one time before. This is an honor to talk to you once again.
I know.
I wanted to tell you, I agree, first of all, 100%, supplying anybody. It should be free. Abortions, if we can do it somehow for low-income people, it should happen. I have a friend that actually had a baby by a married man. The married man left his wife, went with her. She had the kid. They're together. Well, he has now left her. And now she has the baby, and she's still on government assistance. And let me tell you, she was on government assistance the whole time he was living with her, which is totally wrong. And it drives me insane. It actually has caused a rift between us because I'm single. I don't have any children. I've chosen that. That's a choice. If you're going to have a kid, everybody else shouldn't have to pay for it. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you can't afford to feed your child, you shouldn't be having the child.
I totally agree with you on that. Totally.
unbelievable. Like you say, unbelievable.
Babies are not just a blessing to those who believe in blessings. They are a cost.
Oh, and then you can take the religious side of it, how people pick and choose out of religions and say, oh, well, I have to have the baby because my religion says that I can't get an abortion. But you just screwed somebody while they were married or while you were in a relationship, you cheated. That's okay, but people love to take religion and pick and choose what they want to believe and what parts they want to use and not use. And you, my friend, actually are the one that I'm Catholic, baptized, but you actually are the first person I started listening to that was an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I consider myself agnostic, but you made me question everything. So that's another thing I wanted to bring up. So thank you.
You got that all for the price of one. I think that's fantastic during these hard economic times.
Definitely, definitely.
All right, thank you for that, Kelly. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's the telephone number here. Let's say hello to Elaine on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Tom. I'm a big fan. I love your show.
How big are you?
I'm little. I'm 5'2", and I weigh 112 pounds.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
No, I'm a caseworker for the probation department. I deal with kids like from 14 to 17 that are in gangs, and it's sad to see them just have kids without caring. I have 2 minors that are 14. One has 1 kid, and another one is going to have 2.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I said.
2 kids. The one who's 14 and has 2 kids. When did that kid have the first kid?
Well, he had him when he was going to turn 14, and the second one is going to have it when he's going to turn 15.
Really?
Yes, I see this every day. I work in East L.A., I work in Watts, I work in Compton, and I go to their houses twice a day to make sure that they're going to school, getting out of their gangs, not doing drugs. But some of these kids are products of mothers that have 5 or 6 kids from different men, and I tell these moms, are you like a rabbit or what? Do you not think about the consequences that these kids are facing? And they just look at me with like these blank stares of like, what are you talking about? Or some of them even get mad at me, like telling me, who are you? You're 24 and you don't have kids. What do you know about having kids? So it's hard to get through these people. And the 14-year-olds, I ask them, do you have condoms? And I have boxes of condoms in my car. And the sad thing is that they tell me that they have them. They just don't want to use them.
Elaine, thank you for the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Nick on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Father.
Son, how are you?
Good, man. Anyone who listens to you knows you're doing good, man. And anyone who really listens to you, they'll be doing good, too. I got a little brother who's 17 right now, and he knocked up a 17-year-old girl. They had it multiple times, no protection, no education about it, just being stupid, man. I always recommended you to my brothers. But now he's got a kid on the way in the first trimester, and I'm fully for funding birth control and abortions.
But yeah, now let me ask you this question. Your brother, is the reason he didn't use birth control was his inability to afford it? And is that the reason he's not having an abortion?
No, he can totally. It's so cheap. Anyone who says that, it's not true. You just, if you can't afford it, if you can't afford to have sex.
Wow. Wow. And so, Nick, now my opinion is what you do now is when he asks you to babysit or asks you for money, tell him no.
Oh, no, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's keeping our wonderful welfare state in the same cycle. I tried to help him out and give him the same advice, and he's still in the first trimester, and he's thinking, it's ridiculous with kids having kids.
No doubt about it. Nick, thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello to Giselle on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Giselle.
Great. Me too. Love your show.
Thank you.
I'm definitely pro, what is it called? I just went blank.
What is what called?
I know. I'm like...
Birth control?
Yeah, it's birth control, but it's totally away the told what I was going to say. This is the thing, and I don't mean to sound like an ignorant, which I probably will sound like one, but isn't there a country or in China or Japan, I don't even know where it is, but please correct me, that's what I'm calling, where they actually
like they have an amount of family that, like you could produce.
Time for another edition
times.
of Chicks on Geography.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I had to call you because I know you were going to teach me. So that's what I'm calling.
So what is it you said about this unknown country?
Yeah, where they have, like you could only have like certain child per household. Because, and then that's what they should do here, where you could, okay, we're going to help you for within, like, 6 months or whatever, just, for you to catch up or whatever. And then after that, if you're still at the same pace, then, well, too bad, that's your choice.
Well, that's never going to happen in this country. By the way, the country you're trying to think of is one of these little countries, China.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yes.
But you know what I mean? Like, what is it going to take? Is that like against human rights, or why can that
Well,
be
yes,
done? I mean,
yes, it is. It is against human rights. And by the way, I think anybody who can afford to pay for a kid should be able to have a kid. The problem you have is that you have people who can't afford kids. They expect us to pay so they can have kids.
Or like, okay, we're only going to help you for one. You learn your mistake. He's
Right.
ADH, whatever. And we're going to give you a steady time for you.
It's never going to happen in a million billion years.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. With shorter commercial breaks, less commercials, more phone calls. And less of what we want, and more of what we want, less of what we don't. And that's just in the office. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. It's a telephone number. Oh, yes. Let's say hello here to Paul on the Tom Leykis Show. If you're just joining us, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi went on ABC yesterday with George Stephanopoulos and said that the economic stimulus package they're working on right now should include funding for birth control. Good idea. Let's throw in abortion while we're at it. Paul, hello.
Hey, Tom, I'm so thrilled that Nancy is going after this money. I think it's such a great idea. I have a funny story for you. I married a beautiful woman from South America, and unfortunately her extended family comes along with her, as in brothers.
That's the package.
Right, and their way of thinking. So when my wife and I got married, we waited 5 years, scrimped and saved, and cut every corner we could, and we finally bought a house last July. Meanwhile, the whole time, her family's coming here, overstaying their visas. All of them are coming over here. There's a whole bunch of them living together in a tiny little apartment. My wife and I bought this house, and she came up with the idea, let's throw a Thanksgiving dinner for my family. As my eyes rolled, I agreed, and we spent like $700 or $800 putting, some decent food together for everybody. And around the dinner table, her brother and his wife and their 5 children, 2 of them are 18, who already had 2 kids here illegally, are laughing at me and ridiculing me as if I don't have the huevos to get my wife pregnant. Why don't you guys have any kids? Why don't you have any kids yet? And I said, well, some of us want to wait till we have something to offer our children, like a house, like some money to put them in a private school. You think I'm some sort of a fool because I've waited to have something to provide everybody with at my house? It's ridiculous.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And these guys, they're sitting there popping out kids like it's some sort of a hobby or something, and who's got to put the bill to get them through school? Guys like me who have to pay property tax that goes to the school. 50 cents of every dollar that comes into the state of California goes to, educating these kids and feeding these kids as their mothers continue to just populate the world with this polluted idea, this third world country idea about just having kids. And what a fool I am, Tom, at my own dinner table, at my house, that I provided food for everyone, and they're laughing at me because I don't have any kids yet.
Very well, I've heard this myself my whole life. I've been laughed at. But guess what? I'm the one who has 2 houses. I'm the one who drives a recent issue luxury car. I'm the one who goes on vacations to Italy, Spain, France, England, Latin America, Hawaii, Napa Valley, wherever I feel like it. And everybody else is limited to their, having their kid's birthday party at Shakey's, and they go to Legoland on vacation.
Well, don't get me wrong, Tom. I have a beautiful, super hot, great wife, and we are going to have kids, but not until the time is right. She's still 29 years old, and we have another year or two, and we're going to get some money together. And
But when you do it, you will not have to take a hit in your lifestyle, and that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Tom. Can you take me out Kobe style?
Absolutely, Paul. Here you go.
This is about us. She's so special to me. Yeah, it beats in my heart. Yeah, the air I breathe. She's so special to me.
It's 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Scott on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, Tom, what's going on?
Not much.
Hey, I'd just like to comment about some of the money that's getting spent stupidly, I didn't vote for Obama, but I'm a fan of him. I like the people that he's picking for. I think the man's competent. But I don't know if you know, Friday, shortly after noontime, he signed in it's called the Mexico City policy, which frees up about $40 million a year to pay for other countries' abortions.
Well, we should be paying for our own abortions. I don't mind paying for certain other countries when we've got the money, but how about us?
Exactly, man. What's up, dude? I can use some money. We all can use some right now.
Well, there you go. I think you make a good point. Let's say hello here to Bo on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Tom, how you doing?
Okay.
All right, here's what I got to say, Tom, about all these kids having kids. I think it should be the law that if you are under the age of 18 years old and you get pregnant, you should have to have an abortion paid for by the country. And I guarantee you, after all these stupid little girls out there getting pregnant have an abortion, they will never again allow themselves to get pregnant until they are ready to have a kid, because they will never want to go through that again.
Well, Bob, I've suggested in the past telling kids, sure, you want to get pregnant, that's great. But if you make under a certain income level and you have under a certain educational level, your child will be put up for adoption. You are not capable of raising a child. It's in the best interest of the child to send him on to a family that can afford to take care of him.
Exactly.
And let's see how anxious those slutty little teenagers with their Facebook pages will feel about having kids then.
I completely agree. And also, Father, I just wanted to let you know I'm an avid listener. I follow all your rules, and right now I've got 4 different chicks that I'm banging. Every single one of them knows I have no interest in a boyfriend or a girlfriend type relationship. As soon as I lay that down on the line, they're more than ready, willing, and able to give it up whenever I want.
I love that.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Mike on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, what's up, Tom? How's it going, buddy?
Not much, Mike. Everything's good.
I'm glad to hear it, man. Hey, first off, I just want to say that I absolutely agree with you. But obviously I do have a little bit of concern about the whole abortion thing, because I know there's a lot of complacent freeloaders out there, as you know, that I'm just afraid that if they say, hey, we'll take care of the abortion for you, that they will be more complacent about having kids because they know that Uncle Sam will just bail them out as if they're a bank.
Well, I'm not suggesting that it be unlimited. For example, that you could have 14 federally funded abortions in your lifetime or anything like that. What I am suggesting is that if you are under a certain income level, and that's the reason you don't take birth control pills, or that's the reason you're not having an abortion, we need to make sure that people get an abortion. But again, I would offer free abortions to people who can prove they are under the care of an OBGYN, that they are getting birth control devices and information.
I mean, but, you know, kids these days can get free birth control pills. They can get, not free birth control pills, but free condoms. And they don't even take advantage of that. They're just freeloaders.
Well, I don't agree with you. You know, the teenage pregnancy rate went down every year until last year when it went up for the first time in many years.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't agree with that at all. I think we should be making birth control devices and abortion more available.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. It's just that, you know, I know there's so many freeloaders out there that don't even care about the kids. They don't care about anything. They just figure, okay, I know Uncle Sam will bail me out, so so I'll just go deposit as much, you know, as I want to, and and just know that I'm going to get bailed out. You know, that's my whole thing. But otherwise, I absolutely agree with you. I know there's going to be people out there taking advantage in the wrong way.
Mike, thank you for the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Donna on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello. Donna?
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Doing great.
Listen, I think that we need to give the rights back to the parents. I mean, you know, when my children were growing up, they knew if they were to get pregnant and they hadn't gone to finish college or they weren't married, or I didn't care if they were married or not, you know, we were going to the clinic. I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think we need to let the parents start taking control of these kids again instead of having these 12, 13, 14-year-old girls getting pregnant.
Well, now the problem you have, unfortunately, and I'm glad to hear that that's the way you handled it. But what we have now is now we have the children of the children.
I know.
Yeah, we've got the mother who at 16 had a baby, and now her 14-year-old little slutty slut is now she's pregnant.
See, and
so now 30-year-old mom, 30-year-old mom and 46-year-old grandma and 15-year-old little slut, they go down to Planned Parenthood, or they go and apply for welfare? Well, what the hell?
Yeah, I just don't agree. And I think that as soon as your daughter starts having a cycle, you put that child on birth control. She may or may not be promiscuous, but at least that way you're not dealing with the other problem on down the road.
Donna, great call. Thank you so much.
Tom, 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom, 1-800-5800-866. The Tom Leykis Show.
From Hollywood, it's the Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the program. We appreciate it. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi went on television yesterday on This Week with George Stephanopoulos, a show nobody watches that I know, but there you go. That's what YouTube was made for. She went on there and she said, you know, this economic stimulus package that Obama's trying to pass, let's include funding for birth control. I say, why stop at birth control? Let's add abortion. For God's sake. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. Here's Justin on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good. First-time caller here. I was listening. I've been listening to you for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, every once in a while when I can. You know, this guy called talking about freeloaders wanting to get the abortion so they could take advantage of the government, and that's complete and utter crap. You know, that's something painful that you go through that you're not going to feel the same afterwards. Me and my girl were having a kid. You know, she's not a complete loser. I am. You know, we both wanted the kid. That was our choice. We're going to struggle, you know, and we're not going to use the government's help for it. I think people that, you know, that want to be able to not have kids and wait should be able to if the circumstances, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I know what you're saying.
I'm a little nervous, sorry.
Well, I'm tired of paying for unwanted children, and I'm tired of people not giving any thought to what happens when they get pregnant and they dump unwanted children onto their parents or onto society.
Exactly.
And I think it's time that we do something about it.
Exactly, and I think you're right. I just don't think that people are going to want to do that so they can freeload off the government, like the gentleman that called a little earlier said.
Yeah.
You know, that seems kind of narrow-minded on his part, you know?
Absolutely.
That's all I wanted to say, though. Thank you very much for having your show, man. I don't agree with all you say, but I like it.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. That is our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Ken on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Ken.
How's everything going?
Great.
I got one solution for this whole mess. First, just don't have any tax breaks, any tax credit for the people who are getting knocked up. That's one big final solution. Because you know what's will foot the bill? The taxpayers. Plain and simple.
Yes.
But if the people know that, you know, they're going to get a tax break, they won't be popping out so many kids.
Well, the taxpayer right now is paying for kids to be born, kids to be taken care of, because let's face it, the attitude is, the thought behind that is, the kid didn't ask to be born, and it's what's in the kid's best interest, and you can't just leave babies lying around starving or dying or what have you.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. Hey, Tom, can you take me out old school?
Yes. Yes, I can. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Sam on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hello, father of the fathers. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Sam.
Yes, I believe Nancy brought up a good point, and this is exactly what our society needs these days. And it should be implemented, you know. And at the same time, I also believe that our schools can play a major role if they come up with better plan to educate these kids, you know, what's coming in their future and, you know, what is beneficial and what is not.
I think you're right about that.
And also for those religious freaks out there that using religion against abortion without realizing that what's going to cost to the kids in the future, they don't think about when their kids are committing adultery or fornication. You know, at that time, nobody gives rats about the religion. And all of a sudden, you know, religion jumps in when the kid is pregnant.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, you know, it's time we stop using religion as the measuring stick, at least in federal government, and we start using, like, what is pragmatic and practical for the whole country.
Absolutely. You think about the United States. For God's sake, you know, stop thinking about religion at this time, you know. This is the time that we really have to come up with something that can help our economy and our country.
Good point, Sam. Thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Bill on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Bill.
Am I to the understanding that you said you're tired of paying for these babies born out of wedlock?
Right.
And low income, but in fact, if you're supporting a program that's going to fund them through tax money, aren't you paying for it that way as well?
No, we're not funding babies. We'd be funding birth control, and that's a lot cheaper than funding babies.
Well, but aren't you funding a cause?
And funding abortion. It's still cheaper than funding babies themselves.
So what are the statistics on
if we can reduce the number of babies, it will reduce the cost to the taxpayer, that being me and you.
Right, what I'm saying is, what statistics do you have to prove what you're trying to back?
Well, it hasn't been done yet, so we can't know until it's tried, and I think it's time to try it.
When you say it hasn't been done yet, are you saying that we haven't given kids free condoms before?
No, I'm not talking about just condoms. I'm talking about a comprehensive list of birth control devices, and I'm talking about abortion.
You're talking free of charge, even though nothing's free of charge.
Free of charge. Well, again, it's cheaper than taking care of a baby. It's cheaper than sending a baby to public school. It's cheaper than vaccinating a baby. It's cheaper than buying school lunches for babies.
It's cheaper if the numbers aren't skewed, right?
What do you mean if the numbers aren't skewed?
Well, meaning that depending on how many people are actually having babies versus having abortions, I mean, you got to do the numbers, right?
Well, I'm not talking about giving free abortions or birth control to everyone. I'm talking about free birth control for anyone who makes under $70,000 a year. And I'm talking about free abortions for anyone who can show that they've been under the care of an OBGYN or a urologist or someone who has prescribed birth control or advised on birth control. That person, if they have made every effort to use birth control and it failed for some reason, that person should also get an abortion if they have under $70,000 a year in income.
But you keep talking about, you keep using the word free, and in fact, nothing's free.
Free to the user. Don't be such a stickler. You know what I mean by that. I mean free to the user.
I'm sorry, that's just the free.
Well, what we're paying for now, what we have free now is free health care, free education, free vaccination, free school lunches. That is a lot more than the cost of a free abortion.
And why do you think somebody would go get an abortion because it's free?
Because there's many people who don't have abortions because they can't afford them.
So all the, and I'm going to use illegal aliens, and whether I'm against.
Why do you assume it's illegal aliens?
No, I'm just going to make a point here. Thousands of babies are born here a year from illegal aliens, which means they don't get paid for. So you can have a baby here.
What, do you think they're not being fed? You think there aren't food stamps? You think? But remember, these babies are Americans.
Well, what I'm saying.
You think
is,
they're not being fed? You think they're not being educated? You think they're not getting medical care? You think they're not getting vaccinations?
I know for a fact they are, and that's part of the problem.
But
Because
it
they
is
know
a
they can
lot
just have it
cheaper to
and then our
abort
tax
them.
money
It
will
is a
pay
lot
for it.
cheaper to abort them than it is to pay for those services until they are teenagers and then they start reproducing again. For God's sake. 1-800-5800-TOM. Ulysses on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Tom? How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Hey, Tom, don't you always advocate or say that, don't you tell all the guys that if your woman doesn't do what you say, to leave them for any reason, whatever it is, right? If you don't like this, to leave them.
Right, leave them.
Yeah, right. But if you do that, aren't you leaving kids and leaving the moms? With,
if I tell someone I don't want to be a parent, and with the availability of birth control and abortion and morning after pills and all the different devices and all the different methods there are, they go ahead against my will and have a baby. I'm sorry. We eliminated slavery in 1865. You can't make me be a parent. Period. End of story.
Yeah, but what about for the kid, though? Isn't the kid already
Not
screwed?
my problem. Ask the kid's mom who went and had a kid without the other person's consent. That's who did it.
Yeah, but you know, some people do change after they get older and older.
Well,
the kid's already born, you know?
Well, again, people should be parents when they want to be, not when someone else tells them they have to be.
Well, what about my shoes? You know, I'm not doing bad or anything. I work for myself. I do over $60,000 a year by myself. I don't have no kids. I'm 26. I live alone and everything. But it's harder for me to find girls that have no kids, too. It's hard because usually they want something better, you know?
Well,
and nobody really helped me out either when I was young at all.
So is that my fault that you can't find chicks without kids? How do I find them? And do you know how I find them? Because I make more money than you do.
Yeah, I know you do, Tom. You're the smart guy here.
So the reason you're left with the women with kids is because that's what you get at your income level.
Yeah, I understand.
You get my leftovers.
Yeah, I get all the married girls that are tired of their husbands too, you know.
There we go.
It sucks. All right, Tommy, blow me up, man.
I'll blow you up, baby. Our email address is my name. It's Tom@blowmeuptom.com. Have you got that? Tom@blowmeuptom.com.
The Tom Leykis Show.